Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein with your metal market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for May 8th, 2025, Thursday, just after 5:30 p.m. Central Time. Pope Leo and Chicago origins. What do you think about that? Pretty exciting. And our first U.S. deal made with the United Kingdom, and that is a big deal. I cover that in more detail in the Spider ETF, and I'll leave it for the financial. I don't want to cover it 3 times in a row if I don't have to tonight. But it is the framework of a deal. It is not a signed trade deal. It's a memorandum. Leave it at that. And that's very important because the guidelines with the UK, a good trading partner, our origins are from there, very important. And I think the president did a great job with it. And he's proven he can get a deal done. He only has 174 more to go, and then everything will be just hunky-dory. I found it interesting how the stock market rallied dramatically on the news. I think it's getting ahead of itself. And the reason is this deal has yet to be signed, sealed, and delivered. We have the reality of no product coming in from China at the ports. Store shelves are going to have a problem. But more important is that loss of 30 or 40% of the containers that come in from China isn't being made up, as I'm seeing it and listening to the port managers of Long Beach and Los Angeles. And I think that's a real problem because this ripples down. Do you really need those truck drivers, the warehouse workers? What happens in the retailers? You can go on and on. So I think this market, as I've said, I think you're getting a bear market rally in the stock market up to some key numbers here. This euphoria should be tamed. And while you broke down hard in the gold off the news, the inflation is yet to come from these tariffs. You haven't seen it yet. This is the first go-round, and that's how I would attack these markets. So why don't we just go to the charts and let them do the talking? For the week, you are still up $90. I know for those of you in this market, it may not feel like it, but that's where you're at. You're still up about 2.8% on the week. When we look at this chart, you didn't make it back to the 3,500 level. Just last week, you were pushing 32. So you're sitting here in between, let's call it 3,450, 3,200. Okay. As I look at the market, and this is what I always look at, the swing line study has a lower low, then it made a higher high. So that's where it is. It doesn't have a trend. It's got a market that the current part is you made the higher high, but you got a lower and low in place. And son of a gun, if it isn't fighting at that 18-day average of closes, where so often that's where the market runs back to figure out what it's doing. If you look at where the rally stopped 2 days ago, if you haven't taken my enhanced Bollinger Band course, shame on you. Go to the website, iraepstein.com, and take the course there. It's that simple. When you look at it, it went right back up to it, and your momentum has gone dead. Do I think we're trending in gold? No, not yet on the daily charts. The gold-silver ratio slipped back a little, but it is staying over the 18-day average of closes, which means gold is still on a relative basis stronger than the silver. In the silver market, I made a statement to you just yesterday. I said, I realize this market's failing, but there's an awful lot of support at the 100, the 200, and the Bollinger Band. And even with the metals all giving up ground today, you can see the silver market, for example, was down 17 cents. Not like the gold, but still down. It's unable to pierce that at this point in time. There's just a lot of support there at this point. And in the copper, you did the same. You fell back from, and we should do this. Let's go back 2 days. Here we are, because we're already open for the evening trade. You had an outside day down. The first objective then is the closest moving average, the 100. If that gives ground, I'd look for support coming into that then at the Bollinger Band and the 200-day average. I think you can see we got right to what we were talking about. You got to 454 and a quarter, came down, it certainly challenged the lower band, and bingo, the market holds up, and now you're bouncing right there. exactly what's to be expected. The trend is down in an oversold market that's got layers of support here. I told you I did not think China, their report that they did on Wednesday, was anywhere near what should have been done. And the market has punished that market because copper is a direct canary in the mine, if you will, for what China does. Now, the platinum's completely different. It is staying over the 18-day average. It is caught in this thrall of resistance that has had from the 200, the 100, and the 18-day average of closes for a long period of time. There is no change here. It's not trending. It's developed sideways action. And the U.S. dollar, let's take back a day here. I said to you yesterday, if it continues down, Bollinger Band support, if it goes up, upper band here, 128 level. Tell me where you went, 160, and you finished 149. Remember, the Bollinger Band went up with that number. So while you closed at 149, that number's 142. I think you're going to go higher in this. I think that the dollar now has the momentum that if it can't take out this low, to get back into maybe the 102 area very quickly. So I'm curious to see if it can do that. I'm obviously going to have to go back to the drawing board if 2 days ago's low is taken out. I want to remind you that each morning I start you off bright and early with my futures video at 6 in the morning where I say, I want you to buy here. I want you to sell. This is the stop. We track the trades. What do? We trade Bitcoin. We were in Bitcoin, in fact, in the futures, the contract today, and we came out of half of it. So pretty interesting times there. Then I cover with you the spider, the ETFs, and so on. Each one of the videos carries whatever the trade recommendations were. There will be losers. It is a guarantee. There will be winners. The government says I shouldn't say I can guarantee that, so I won't. But I will say I've had a lot of winners. Okay, I'll leave it like that. And I hope to have more. But the idea here is not that I'm managing your money. I'm not. All I want to do is throw out why to buy, why to sell, what I'm seeing, give you the chart picture as to why, start you off with the fundamentals early in the morning, and we do that in a PowerPoint, and then you take it the rest of the way. It's one heck of a way to get some ideas in the market, and that's my job. So go to iraepstein.com research, give yourself a try, see if it works for you. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening, and I'll catch up with you in the other videos tonight and first thing in the morning with our morning flash video. Take care.